What's this one?
Fuzz.
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 What's this one?
It's fuzz.
You have too much fuzz.
Have you ever looked at all the gear musicians use and wonder, how does it all work? My name's Dustin, and my family and I are setting out on a quest to inspire both adult and kid musicians to create new sounds together and learn all about what it takes to produce great music. We'd like to invite you along on the journey as we explore the gear professional studios, musicians, and hobbyists use to create their art. We'll take a close-up look at the gear and ask,
What's this button do?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's This Button Do? I'm your host Dustin, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite subject when it comes to guitars, the fuzz pedal. Those of you who have been over to the studio, and for anybody who hasn't, know that back behind me here there's a little cabinet full of pedals, and it is mostly chock full of fuzz pedals. And without fail, every time somebody new comes over to the studio to record, they start looking through the pedals and they go, why do you have so many different fuzz pedals? There can't be that many different sounds you can make with these. And first thing I do is sit them down, start plugging them in and showing them how much variation there is. The fuzz pedal is one of the most wildly varied and crazy amount of different sounds that you can get from a pedal that you will ever see. But today I thought what we would do is show you the foundations of fuzz and really walk through the three core fuzz sounds that you see every day and in modern music you will hear all the time, and let you hear those sounds and kind of walk you through what they're like. Ever since fuzz was developed in 1962 by a company called Maestro, they developed the FZ1, which was played one, kind of a weird fuzz. It's got kind of a broken sound, a little bit horn sound to it. When those first came out, nobody really knew what to do with them. They just started experimenting with them. But it wasn't until about 1966 that two companies, Solasound and Arbiter, were in kind of a race, and they developed two different pedals, the tone bender and the fuzz face. Those two really changed the future of fuzz and really laid the groundwork for what we know as fuzz today. So I thought what would be fun is I'll take you through and walk you through what a fuzz face sounds like, what a tone bender sounds like, and then from 1969, I'm going to show you what has become my favorite sounding fuzz, the electro-harmonix Big Muff. So I'm going to walk you through these. Now, I'm not going to be playing originals from the 60s. I'm going to be playing some modern versions of them, but it really will give you a good idea of what those sounds sound like and the differences between them, because that does confuse a lot of people as why are there so many different fuzzes. So we'll walk through that. Join me over at the pedals and we're going to kind of like guide you through them. I'll walk you through the three pieces that we're using, and then we'll just play them a little bit and see how they sound. All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at three of my favorite fuzz types. We're going to be looking at the Jam Pedals fuzz phrase, which is more of an old fuzz face style fuzz. We're going to be looking at the JHS bender, which is of course based on a tone bender. And then we're also going to be looking at an old EHX Big Muff to show you kind of the difference between the three sounds. So let's start off with the fuzz phrase, or a fuzz face, or traditional fuzz face. Now these typically when they came out had just a level and gain control. So you can see you just had two simple controls. When they were originally developed, these were not intended to be some fuzzy kind of high gain sound. What they were actually developed for was to be a replacement for a horn player. If you didn't have a horn player in the band and you needed to have like that saxophone part, you could use a fuzz pedal to simulate that horn. So when we start today, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to be using my Taya Gypsy Queen guitar. This is the Nautilus edition. You can kind of see the cool Nautilus print based on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Taya does some amazing work with their guitars. But this one is very similar to a Strat. It's got a little different pickup configuration, but I'm going to be using just the bridge pickup, just like you would on an old Strat, to kind of simulate what they would have done back then. And I'm going to leave the volume rolled fully up, except for there's one little part where I'm going to tell you I'm changing that, but I am going to change the tone control a little bit, and I'll point that out when I do it just to show you what I'm using. Okay, so when you want to create that traditional saxophone sound on a fuzz face, there's a couple of things you can do. What I like to do is I roll the gain down, and you'll hear this. When I first turn this on, you hear how you hear a little bit of noise, you can hear a little macrophonics in there, but now you can already hear a little bit of that horn sound, but watch. I'm going to roll my tone all the way back and watch what happens. See how it has that traditional saxophone kind of sound to it? It's really funky, really cool, just a neat sound. If I turn the gain up more, you're already starting to hear that distortion come through. And if I roll my tone up now, you're going to hear it a lot louder. Now there's a little bit of extra buzz on there, like a B. So that's why I like turning that gain down, just to give you a little. If we go like just about to 9, 10 o'clock. And roll your tone back. See, nice and clean, very simple. When I mute the strings, you're not hearing a lot of buzz. Now, another thing that's really cool about an old tone bender, a fuzz face, is when you're playing it. If I've got my tone rolled all the way up on my guitar, it still sounds very fuzzy. But if I roll the volume back on my guitar, see how it cleans up? If I had my guitar at full volume. I roll it all the way back, where I'm barely getting it. See, it doesn't sound very fuzzy, which lets you really control the gain with your volume knob. See, I'm not doing anything with the pedal. That's all with the volume knob on my guitar. Now, the tone bender is a little bit different. Tone bender, I'm going to leave that volume exactly where I was. I'm going to go into my tone bender. You can already hear a little bit of that distortion when I turn it on. Let's go back. Fuzz face. So tone bender is naturally a little bit more rockier, a little bit grittier, a little dirtier sound to it. When I roll it up, now the tone bender has that traditional kind of what I call the bee sound. It sounds like a bumblebee, kind of that raspy buzziness to it. So I'm going to show you when we take this down a little bit here. Bring the tone up, bring the attack down just a little. I'm going to roll the tone off of my guitar. I'm going to keep the volume up, and you're going to see this is kind of how it does that saxophony sound. Now let me go back to the fuzz face. So see, fuzz face is traditionally a cleaner sound. The bender gives it just a little bit more grit. So. Now, personally, I love the tone bender sound. I think adding that little bit of extra grit onto there, that little fuzziness, just gives it a more vibrant approach and really makes it sing. But it does, because it's a little dirtier, it may not give you that true saxophone sound. But I also think when you mic a sax, You get a little of that because you push a preamp, especially it starts to distort a little bit. So from a traditional live sax recording sound, I think you can get some of that from that tone bender sound, especially if you roll the tone off on your guitar. Now, the problem with both of these fuzzes is if you're trying to do power chords or you're trying to do true rock music, these were not designed with that in mind. Like I said, that was not their original intent. So let me show you, if I roll the tone up on my guitar, the volume up, I'm going to just bring the drives on these up to a middle ground, and then I'm going to turn on the fuzz face. Now watch. So you hit a power chord on a fuzz face, and the bottom end sounds very thick. You hear a very heavy bass sound, but it's muddy, it's distorted, it's got a funk to it, right? With the tone bender, it's a little bit better. I'm going to roll the volume back up again. So you hear the difference between those two. The bender's definitely got a clearer attack to it, but especially when I'm attacking those bass notes. Neat, but not what you would think of as classic rock tones, or especially power chord kind of rock tones. That's where the EHX Big Muff came in. So the Big Muff, you will hear this, especially if you're like me, a child of the 80s and 90s. Any of grunge definitely had a ton of Big Muffs on it. Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins was known for an op-amp Big Muff. They absolutely love those. A lot of that distorted sound comes from a Big Muff, and you will see that in today's music and in the 80s and 90s. I want to show you the difference between those. So roll this up again. Now, first off, just those three power chords, you could hear the note separation. Notice how you hear the bass notes and the treble notes, but they feel like they're cohesive. Versus the bender. Feels like the distortion is blending in together and kind of not separating those notes. Now, a Big Muff can still do some of the saxophone-y sound, especially if you roll a little bit of this up and you turn your volume down and your tone all your way down. But if you introduce more tone, you can hear it just doesn't have that kind of muddiness that the saxophone sound would give you. It's a little too clean, which I know sounds weird to say a Big Muff is too clean, but it just doesn't have that grit that you can get with a tone bender and that bassy flubbiness that you can get with a traditional fuzz face kind of pedal. So the fuzz face and the tone bender are still fantastic, fantastic pedals. You can use those in a lot of different situations where you don't really need that heavy rock metal note separation. You want it to blend in a little bit. You want it to give you kind of a smoother sound. That's really where the fuzz face can kick in. But if you're trying to do power chords, or especially if you're trying to do like harmonic riffs, like Big Muff shines there. You try to do that with a tone bender. Definitely higher in on the treble, less on the bass. They're playing those exact same notes. And if you do that with a fuzz face, just not the same thing. Three very distinct beasts, three very different sounds, but all very, very cool. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the differences between three of the most classic fuzzes out there. There are a wide number of other fuzzes. We've only begun to scratch the surface, so in future episodes of the show, we'll be talking about octave fuzzes and some of my favorite fuzz pedals of all time and pedal combinations that you can do. So don't fret, this is just the start of the fuzz conversation, but this is a great foundation for you to be able to see the differences out there and maybe find that sound that you've been looking for and figure out what's right for your playing style. Now, there's something else that we're going to do today that I want to take a few minutes to introduce. Back in episode 5, I showed you one of the things that I do when I'm trying out new pedals, where I get with my daughter and I have her pick out a few pedals and I just have her set them up and I don't put any input into it or anything. I play them and just see if I can make them sound good together to help find new ideas and just to spark some creativity out there when I'm stuck in a rut. So our reaction to that was really great. People seemed excited about it. So what we're going to start doing is every episode, I'm going to have Aria do that. I'm going to have her pick out 3 pedals. We're going to slap them on a board. We're going to take 5 minutes and set basically a little clock. And I'm just going to try to make them sound good together within 5 minutes and show you how that's done. But the most important thing is we want to get you involved. So we are launching a new hashtag called the Palen Pedal Picking Challenge. And we want you to do the same thing. If you've got a loved one, a family member, a friend that you can just have go through your pedals, pick 2 or 3 pedals out, set them on your board, set up the knobs, and just don't put any input into them. Let them pick the stuff. They plug them in, you turn them both on or all 3 on and try to make them sound good. Give yourself like 5 minutes and then find that good sound that you want, record it, send it to us on Instagram, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, any of the socials out there, tag Palen Music, tag me, or most importantly, put a hashtag Palen Pedal Picking Challenge or Palen Pedal Picking Challenge. I'll put both down here below. We're going to be monitoring both. But we want to hear from you and we want to see what you've created using this same challenge. So we hope you enjoy it. Today, I'm going to bring in Aria to introduce our challenge for the evening. So Aria, what's on our pedal picking challenge for today? Let's see.
Black, white, pink.
A black wood, a white wood, and a pink wood?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we've got Aria's selection, as she calls it, the white, black, and pink pedals. We had to swap them around. She decided she wanted the black to be after the white, so it's going to make this even more interesting. So we have got the Solid Gold Effects Lysis 2, which is actually kind of cool. This is one of my favorite fuzzes. It's an octave fuzz, so this will kind of go well with what we were talking about earlier in the episode. It's going to be the weird one. This is a brand new pedal. This is from Mr. Black. It's called the High Five. This is actually an octave pedal, so kind of weird to have 2 octaves here. But it generates a 5th and an octave up, so it creates a power chord out of just one single note. That's going to be very interesting. And then we have the Mythos pedals Susmary Osif, which is the RJ Ronquillo's signature pedal. It's got 3 pedals in one, so if we actually kind of cheat here with 5 pedals, we'll have to figure out how we're going to use them, if we're going to use them all or not. But it's got a treble boost, an overdrive, and then kind of a cool analog delay. So we'll walk through each one of them. I'll show you how those work, and then we'll just kind of take it from there and see what we can make. So let's start off with the Lysis, and we'll see how that sounds. So let's get that queued up here, and we'll do it. Ooh, that's kind of funky. Okay. This is going to be very, very interesting. All right, so let's try. All right. Go high pass filter, I think. There we go. Make a little. I think I like that voice the best. Let's see. Yeah, I like that a little bit more subtle. Let's, what if we just don't do the filter, since we're going to have a lot of filtering afterwards? It's kind of a cool thing. You can turn off that filter on here, so you don't have to have that weird tremolo thing going on. Let's, if we're doing that, we'll just max up the RAM. Blend it in, add a little more fuzz. All right. That sounds pretty cool. I like that as an octave fuzz. Very cool. All right. Let's try the high five out. This is cool. So see how it... Okay. So if we turn the fifth all the way up. And then we have the octave up. Crazy. So let's see. I think if we turn them down, we get the octave down and the fifth down. And this, I think, is a boost to our main signal. Yeah, it's kind of like our clean blend. So we'll leave... I think with the license, we're going to need that. Okay, and then the sus Marioso, I'll show you the difference. So we got, let's start with it over here. You hear the loud treble. Let's give it fat. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Okay, maybe not so loud. Good. Let's try the overdrive. Might be too much. Okay, and then the delay. That's not, oh, I bet this affects it. So it slows it down. We'll speed it up. Okay. All right, so let's start with our license. See what happens when we add that. Let's go a little higher range octave. Whoa. If we bring the full treble octave in. Yeah, I think I like that more, but let's take the octaves, maybe back toward the middle. That's really cool. Yeah, it just brings up that sound. I thought the octaves were going to be bad with each other, but honestly, just... I think it actually, that helps, having that little higher treble octave. Okay, let's boost the treble a little bit and see what happens. Oh! No, definitely needs to be fat. Maybe not that big of a boost. Yeah, okay. Oh. I'm hit or miss. I think I like it better without the overdrive. Let's leave that off for a second. Kind of slapbacky almost. Okay, let's see. I think I'm gonna shut everything off for just a second, except for that slap back. Let's see what. I kind of want to get it going. Give us a little bit more right channel here. Okay, let's add them all in now and see what happens here. All right. Oh, that's wicked. without the delay. That's it. I think that's the sound. So that's it for this week's Palen Pedal Picking Challenge. Make sure you do this at home. Follow along with us. Go visit us at What's This Button Do Dustin on Instagram and follow us. And then make sure to, as you shoot your own videos, just put that hashtag Palen Pedal Picking Challenge somewhere in your posting, and we'll come check it out. Tag us as well, and we'll make sure to talk about it. We're going to actually share some of our favorites on our socials as well. So enjoy this, have some fun. Hopefully it'll inspire you to find some new music. We really appreciate you coming out today. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about my favorite plugin of all time. And for any of you who do home recording or have your own little studio or just starting out with music and trying to maybe do some of your own recordings by yourself, this is the ultimate plugin. So make sure you come and tune in next week. Thank you so much for coming out. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon.